And all. In the previous class, we discussed about different soil properties and different testings required for knowing the geotechnical properties of the particular soils which are located in our constructional sites, such that we are having different kinds of projects, so that we have to face different soil properties and we have to improve those a lot, so that we need different parameters of the soils what they are having in our nearer to the projects, so that after the knowing the project we need to do some sort of these modification techniques, such that we have to improve our soil properties, so that we need a particular methods for improving those soil properties. In those modification methods we are having mainly these four kinds of techniques which are used a lot to improve the soil properties. In those first one we are having mechanical modification. That means to densify the particular soil of a particular area we need these kinds of mechanical modification. In this mechanical modification majorly we are using a mechanical equipment, such that it will simply moves on a particular soil, so that the automatically due to the huge amount of force applying on the soil while the vehicle moving on those particular area, automatically there may be a densification occurs. That means whenever we blow particular weight on the particular soil, so that automatically the voids will be avoided due to this action of blowing on the particular material, such that this mechanical modification simply we are using a mechanized equipment on the content of the soil what we have to densify, so that the modification will occurs due to the action of these mechanical forces. In the next one we are having hydraulic modification. That means simply in these hydraulic modifications we need to change the properties of the particular soil which are having these hydraulic properties, and we have to improve or decrease this water content which are lying in the below layers of the particular strata. By using this hydraulic modification, just we have to modify the soil parameters up to which we have to require for particular projects. Next one, physical and chemical modifications. In this physical and chemical modifications mainly we are using different types of physical exercise to the particular soils. That means normally to strengthen our body we are using different kinds of exercises. Likely for strengthening the soils we are using different kinds of physical treatments with external appliances. Likely we are having chemical modification. In this chemical modification also the soil having different chemical properties, such that we need to in some cases by using these chemical properties we have to control the soil properties. Some of the soils having organic matters and other explosive matters, so that they will have to contact with the part. That means they have to contact the components of the building, and automatically they will affect the particular project, so that they we need to do those are inert materials. That means we have to use some kind of materials to inertify the particular soil, so that there will be no reaction between the, that means chemical reaction, there will be a physical reaction to transfer the stresses from particular body to soil. That will be not chemical reaction between those projects and other soil strata, such that the project will have a long lifespan. Next one we are having a modification by inclusion and confinement. Inclusion means different kinds of materials we need to include in the particular materials, so that we need to confine the soil with a particular parameters. First one we are having this mechanical modification of the soil. In this mechanical modification mainly we are having these four kinds of vibrators. That means what is a vibrator? Vibrator means by oscillating with some amount of frequency it will moves on a particular soil strata, such that due to the movement of those particular mechanical equipment with a huge amount of weight, automatically the particles will move close to each other, such that automatically the density of the soil will be increases by the movement of these mechanical equipments on a particular soil strata. Whatever we have to do the particular densification, we need to do by using these mechanical kinds of equipments. In those also we are having some different kinds. That means here first one we are having static. That means simply it is in a static position. That means there may be no change of position. In those particular position we have to do some modification by using the static roll vibrators. Next one is the we are having a vibratory. That means static means it is some kind of different equipments. It will be used in a particular position of the particular strata. Next one we are having vibratory. That means the equipment is having some vibrational frequencies that will send it to the subsurfaces and in by the subsurfaces and below the layers of the ground by using some kind of these vibratory oscillations, which was done by these mechanical equipments. Automatically due to those vibrations, the voids between the particles will be changing. Automatically the density of the soil will be increases. Next one is the impact rollers. Impact means a sudden drop down of particular mass of material. That means a particular mass of material is suddenly dropping from a certain height, so that automatically due to this action of gravity and other huge amount of mass, the particular strata will be densified with a particular amount of settlement, so that those are called impact rollers. Next one we are having plate vibrators. Plate vibrator means normally in the concrete technology lab we are having these vibratory machines, so that we are having point vibrators and plate vibrators. So that in the plate vibrator, automatically plate vibrators are mainly used to compact the particular amount of concrete in slab levels. Normally point vibrators are used in columns and beams like that. Plate vibrators are we are used in the slab like structure, so that the flat structures we are having a usage of these plate vibrators. Okay, these are the different kinds of vibrators likely in mechanical equipments. Deep compaction by heavy tampering at the surface of the vibration at a particular depth, all are those useful. First one we are having roller. That means all those are different kinds of rollers. What is the technical meaning of this particular roller? Rollers are the construction equipment. That means these rollers are mainly used to densify the soil in the field of construction, so that they are belongs to this construction equipment used for the compaction of the soil. That means normally the main purpose of the roller is to compact the soil and gravel, sand and crushed stone layers, etc. Why? Because normally mainly we are using these rollers for the soil. In another fields we are having gravel, sand and crushed stone layers, etc. That means this gravel we are used in the pavement of the below pavements. We are having in the transportation engineering itself we studied about these pavements. In the pavements also we are having different subsurfaces. Likely in the subsurfaces and ground surfaces we are have to use these materials which are coming which are having a waste in their industries. That means in the rock industries, after the grinding of this heavy amount of rocks, we are having some amount of stone dust and chips and others as a waste materials. We have to use those waste materials by filling these below surfaces of the particular ground level, so that this soil next one we are having gravel. That means gravel is used as a major content in the road surfaces, so that gravel is also used to compact by using these rollers. Next one we are having sand. In some cases like beaches and other river surroundings, we are having huge amount of sand deposits while in a rainy season, so that we need to compact, otherwise there will be a huge amount of volumetric increase on those particular areas. To avoid those volumetric increase and decrease the quantity of water lying on those particular soil fields. That means majorly in these sandy fields we are having a bulking property. It will absorb huge amount of water and increases the volume, so that it will be uncomfortable to the users nearby the soil, these sandy areas, so that we need to compact in a particular season, so that these rollers are used for sand purpose also. Next one we are having crushed stone layers. These are also useful in the laying of particular roads in a national highways and others. Roller working principle is based on vibration. That means these rollers are mainly based on the principle of vibration. That means vibration means we are having oscillations for a particular span of 1 to 2 seconds. We are having this much of vibrations for a particular material, so that vibrations are vary from material to material because of density also varies, like aluminum, copper and other different kinds of alloys. Alloys means we are having different kinds of alloy materials, so that we are having different kinds of vibrations for different materials. Comma impact loadings. That means alloys are already previously we discussed that alloy is a combination of different metals, so that to improve the properties we are using these alloys. Normally these alloys having low density materials. Alloys are normally we are having a huge amount of density materials used in these particular roller like substances. Next one, kneading by the applying a direct pressure on the respective layers. That means we are applying direct pressure on respective layers. What is respective layer means? So in whatever the field we have to densify the soil in those particular area of fields, we are using these rollers to density, to rollers to increase the particular soil density in those particular strata. Strata means up to a particular amount of depth we are densifying the soil, so that in the respective layers we are using this roller like mechanical equipments. In these rollers mainly we are having four kinds of rollers. First one is the vibratory roller. That means vibratory means whenever it is moving on a particular soil strata, automatically vibrations will be coming from those rollers, so that due to these vibrations the voids will be decreases, and whatever the water will be in the particular soil strata, it also comes near to the fields. It is a main purpose of vibrator. Next one is a tamping roller. That means tamping roller means it will normally not vibration, it will apply a certain sort of volume due to these tamping forces, so that automatically voids will be increases. Due to this tamping no water will be avoided, only particular soil will be stratified. Next one we are having a sheep foot roller. That means the roller having some irregular intervals of spacings by using some amount of foot like material. That means after that we are having some amount of pictorial representations. In those pictorial representation I mentioned a few images. By seeing those images we have a clear cut idea what is the vibratory roller, tamping roller, sheep foot roller and smooth wheel or pneumatic tire roller. All those we have mentioned there. This is the vibratory roller. Normally these vibratory rollers are mainly used in the construction of bitumen road. That means tar roads. Normally we are observed in the fields of national highways and other major district roads. Other district roads we are having huge amount of these transport, these tar roads and bitumen BT roads. In the BT roads we are using mainly, we are having a glue material. That means binding material is a bitumen waste. That means waste coming from the petroleum industry, that is tar or bitumen. Those are used to bind the particles. That means the waste chips, so that automatically due to these vibratory rollers all those coming together and they will densify as a particular layer on the surface of the road level. Next one we are having these advantages. What are the vibratory rollers, the points related to those vibratory rollers? Vibratory type roller have smooth wheels. That means the total surface of the vibratory roller is very smooth. Comma drums plus vibrators. That means the wheels are drums. In the primary portion we are having both wheels, and those wheels are hydraulically applying The hydraulically means the some hydraulic force will be applying on those wheels so that there will be a forming of vibration. Second point, one is fixed at the point and another one is simply nearer side is vibratory roller. That means one end is fixed, another one is simply moving. If two ends are moving, there may be no chance of moving the particular vehicle in a proper way, such that one end is fixed to the point and another end is simply moving so that vibrations are maintained at a proper intervals and particular span. Third one, we are having both wheels of the drum are same diameter. That means normally in tractors and others we are having different kinds of diameters of the wires. That means diameters of the wheels. In particularly to densify a particular soil, we are having different kinds of rollers. First of all, we are having a different diameters. That means front tire is very small compared to back tires. Those are type of vibrators also we are seeing. For those particular rollers, there is no vibrations, only there will be weight. For this same diameter rollers having vibrationary methods, but different diameters having no vibrationary methods, only they are moving on a particular surface to densify the soil. But here we are using vibrationary methods as a acceleratory method for densification. Normally this roller is moving on a particular surface for a huge span of time, automatically it will be densified. For using these different kinds of vibratory rollers, we need short span of time to densify a particular soil. That is the main advantage. Next one, vibratory roller covers the full area under wheel. That means full area under wheel. Whatever the area we are having, those all area will be covered by using these two wheels. Front wheel and back wheel will be moving on the particular road surface such that total area will be covered in a single span. To make vibratory roller more efficient, vibrators are also fixed at the smooth wheel rollers. That means in the particularly I will show these portions where these vibrations mainly occurs. This is the part. In this part we are having some notches and like others. By using those notches, there are having some gear like mechanisms. They will prefer in what way and what span of time we have to give these vibrations for. That means each vibrate to vibration, how much span you have to give, all those will be maintained by the driver, which was on the rollers. Next one, vibrations of these vibrators are arranged in a arranges the particles by first disturbing even the arranged ones. That means they arranges particular particles on the surface of the road which are having some irregularities and voids, such that the voids may be decreases to the movement by disturbing even the arranged ones. That means arranged ones కూడా మనకి particles అనేవి డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాయి. On the other hand, weight of the wheels exert direct pressure on the layer. That means pressure means we are having pressure equal to particular load by area. In the particular span of area, we are having a huge amount of load in that form of this vibrator and roller. The roller having normally a weight in terms of tons, 2 tons or 3 tons, or it may be varies from vehicle to vehicle, such that we are normally having it at 5 to 10 tons of weight. Okay, this 5 to 10 tons of weight is moving with a frequency of vibrations. Next one, vibrations are turned off during the reverse motion of the roller. That means once the roller is moving in a particular forward direction, there will be we are having a frequent vibrations. It is moving in a slow manner. After it covers a particular road direction, it will move backward direction with a no vibrations. That means whenever there is a road construction near to our buildings and other conditions, we have to go and observe what type of densification they are doing. The vibrator is how they are moving in a particular span of period, and how they reverse backing, what are the principle they are using to densify particular soils, how the mechanism was doing, all those you need to observe. While we are telling, there may be a chance of skipping few words in a short span of time, so that whenever we are observing these or whenever we are showing also, we don't have a clear cut idea. That means whenever you are going into the fields and you have a particular observation about these rollers, you have a clear cut idea how the driver is moving, what is the reaction time they are taking for particular soil strata, in how many layers they are dumping the material, for each layer how many vibrations here they are giving. That means how many vibration, number of vibrations in particular length they are giving. All those you have to observe. Normally these vibrations is to reduce the air voids and to cause densification of granular soils. It means air voids means different types of soils we are having: granular soils, sandy soils, silty soils, clay soils. As previously we discussed, in this granular soils we are having a huge amount of voids, but in case of silty soils we are having less quantity of voids because of these particle sizes. Likely we are using to construct different particle sizes matters varying from 5 mm to 10 mm normally. Those particle sizes varies from 5 to 10 mm. That means there may be a huge amount of voids are lying between those particles, so that we need to avoid those voids by using this vibratory mechanism and rolling mechanism. Next one, during the vibration of the soil layer, rearrangement of the particles occurs due to deformation of the granular soil because of these oscillations of the roller in a particular cycle. Here cycle means one complete rotation. That means from starting point to ending point of the road, we have to give a complete rotation of the particular roller. Due to those complete rotation with vibrations, there may be a chance of densifying, not a chance, there may be a complete chance to densify the soil with a less span of time. Next one we are having is the sheep foot roller or tamping roller. This is the typical diagram for the sheep foot roller. Only we are having front wheel having different diameter, back wheel having different diameter. In the front wheel we are having some irregular spaces at a regular intervals. That means irregular spaces with regular intervals. In the first layer we are having some sort of void like materials. After that we are having some amount of gap. After that we are having some sort of material likely arranged on a particular roller. These rollers of this kind of rollers are called normally sheep footed rollers. How they work on a particular site we have to know. First one, these sheep foot rollers are also named as tamping rollers. Normally tamping means in concrete technology itself we have used these tampering rods to densify the particular concrete in a different layers. Normally we are using 3 to 4 layers of concrete material. After each layer we need to give 20 to 30 tamperings with a tampering rod of diameter 16 mm, such that the material will be densified in a particular layer with less quantity of voids. Likely here we are having sheep foot roller, also named as tampering roller. In front steel drum of sheep foot roller consist many rectangular shaped boots are equal sizes fixed in a hexagonal pattern. That means the shape is in a hexagonal. That means the shape having 6 faces, so that it having hexagonal pattern. In the coverage area of a sheep foot roller is less than about 8 to 10% because the boots on the drums of sheep foot roller done compaction by a static weight and needing respective layer. That means static weight. Here we are using a term static. In the previous type of roller we are using dynamic. That means they are having vibrations, but in case of this sheep foot roller there is no vibrations, only a flat movement of these hexagonal patterns on a particular roller. Due to these hexagonal patterns and after that we are having void, automatically some sort of materials will be densified. After that we are having some gaps. After that we have to move by using some eccentrical distance from the particular edge of the road. Automatically total road will be densified due to this movement. This makes a tampering roller better suited for the clay soils. Consists pressure of sheep foot roller varies from 1200 to 7000 kilopascal. That means while the roller is moving, they have to maintain such kind of pressure on those particular clayey soils. These sheep foot rollers are mainly used for clayey soils. Normally clayey soils we are having huge amount of binding properties. There is less quantity of voids, but the particle distribution is not evenly, so that we need to tighten the bond between those particles by using these sheep foot rollers. For granular soils we are using these flat and vibratory rollers. For clay soils we are using these sheep foot rollers. Those things we have to know. This is the typical diagram while the vehicle is moving on a particular clay soils. What are the irregular phases we have to observe, what such that the tampering foot roller consists of 4 wheels, on each wheel needing boots feet affixed such that tampering of rollers has more coverage area. That means in the both sides, previously we had observed one kind of system that we are having only front wheel, we are having only kneading mechanism, but in case of this diagram we are having both front and back wheels having these sheep foot rollers are arranged. Because of if we have a less quantity of area, first type of material, first type of machine we have to use. But in case of huge amount of area, like the project is located in thousands of acres, so that we need to use thousands or hundreds of acres, so that we need to use these kind of rollers for easy working and time saving mechanism. And we have to use more amount of coverage area. About 40 to 50% of contact pressure of tampering rollers varies from 1400 to 8500 kilopascal, but we are having previously 1200 to 7000. But in case of these kind of rollers we are having 1400 to 8500. That means 200 and 1500 is varying both. 200 means 1200, 1400 initial we are having. After that we are having 7000 and 8500. 200 and 1500 pressure is varying. Minimum pressure and maximum pressure, those are mentioning. First mean minimum pressure 1400, maximum is 8500 by using this sheep foot rollers in fine grained roller soils. That means fine grain means the particle size is ranges from 0.002 to 0.00110. Next one we are having these smooth wheel rollers. These smooth wheel rollers are mainly used in the construction, in the rolling of these BT roads. That means bitumen tar roads. For the construction of BT roads, we have to densify the particular BT material in the thickness, so that these kind of smooth wheel trailer rollers are useful for the compaction works. What is the advantages and applications in these smooth wheel rollers, and what are the pressures we have to maintain by using these smooth wheel rollers? We have to know about those also. First one, we are having smooth wheel rollers and vibratory rollers are same. That means smooth wheel rollers and vibratory rollers. That means first thing we have shown vibratory rollers and smooth wheel rollers. What is the major difference between these vibratory roller and smooth wheel roller is, in the vibratory roller itself there may be a chance of huge amount of vibrations while the roller is moving in a particular length of the span. That means in the smooth wheeled roller we are not having these vibrations. That is the major difference between these smooth wheeled roller and vibratory rollers. Both having same characteristics. That means same vehicle and same diameter of the front to roll, that means tires and others. Only the difference of the vibratory equipment is smooth wheeler roller has no vibrator attached with the drum. Drum means the front wheels and back wheels, we are called it as a drums because they are in the shape of drum like materials with the material of these steel and others. That means steel and other kind of alloys. Next, third point we are having is, this makes a smooth wheel roller best suited for the rolling of weaker aggregates. The term he mentioned here is weaker aggregate. That means the aggregate is having also crushing strength. Normally this crushing strength depends upon this kind of aggregates. We are having different kinds of aggregates. That means some of the aggregates having huge amount of crushing strength, so that those are used to build huge amount of structures which having compressive strength is so high. Few of the materials having less compressive strength, so those kind of materials are used to construct these kind of roads and others, and as a filling materials because of their less compressive strength. Those are used as a filling materials and other purposes, stone dust like that. Proof rolling of subgrade done is compacting asphalt pavements and BT pavements like that. Next one we are having is compaction of clay or sands is not good choice done with the smooth wheeler rollers. That means compaction of clay or sand is not good choice. That means this is only suited for aggregate like pavements. That means BT pavements we are having aggregates have as a more number. That means this is not suitable for clay soils and whatever the soils which are having smooth materials. The smooth wheel rollers are not suitable. Only those kind of sheep foot rollers are suited for the smooth surface roads. That means granular irregular soils and others. Next point we are having, this is so because there may be a chance of empty voids, many chance of empty voids and clay soils and sand other. What can it minimize with using these vibrators? That means this is so because there is a many empty voids in clay soils and sandy soils which can be minimized using these vibrators. That means in clay soils and sandy soils normally particle sizes is variation is very high, because in sandy soils we are having particles sizes are 0.05 to 10 millimeters, but in case of clay soils we are having 0.002 to 0.005 likely we are having. So that particle size is varying a huge a lot, so that we don't have to use these kind of these vibratory and plain surface rollers. For those two kinds we have to use only these plain and vibratory rollers for the purpose of these aggregate like surfaces. Next one we are having is first one we are having roller modification. After that we are having hydraulic modification. Mainly this hydraulic modification is used for the improvement of soil properties. First of all, we need to avoid this pore water is forced out in the soil via drains of wells. That means drain means normally drain is a word used to leach out particular amount of water on a surface of the particular soil strata. Why? Because if we leave the particular soil strata with this huge amount of water, automatically the water will penetrate to the sublayers of the ground surface, so that the entire properties of the particular ground will be decreases due to entrainment of these water molecules. Automatically there may be a huge amount of voids and other things formed due to the entrainment of water, so that we need to drain automatically by using this hydraulic modification by constructing particular amount of wells. That means మనకి well అంటే బావుల్ లాంటివి, సో small kinds of wells like a bore wells we are having particular diameter, but in case of these soils we have to use some sort of small wells like structures in a particular frequent intervals. Automatically those all amount of water will be drained into those wells. From those wells we need to easily catch the water whatever it may be in the soil. Next second point having is in the coarse grained soil, this is achieved by lowering the groundwater level through pumping from boreholes or trenches. That means in coarse grained soils, that means coarse grain means the particle size is somewhat high compared to normal soils, so that in those coarse grained soils we are having huge amount of voids, so that this water will be drained easily into the below layers, so that all the water can be catched by using this pumping and boreholes and other trenches like adjustments in the particular soils. And the next point we are having is the fine grained soils. The long term application of external loads or electrical forces is required. That means previous one coarse grained soils we have used less quantity of forces externally, because of these huge much of voids are there, so that automatically water will be flowing through those voids and easily drained off. But in case of these fine grained soils like clay soils and silty soils, we are having huge amount of particles and voids also, but the water is not flowing through these voids, because of there may be a binding properties are very much high in these fine grained soils. So that we have to use an long term application, that means application having too much of time period. That means normally we are writing exams. That means in slip tests and other assignments we have a short span of time. But in case of final exam, we are having 3 hours of time. Likely we are having these modifications also. In a coarse grain soils are simply like our assignments. But in case of these fine grain soils related to our final examination patterns like that, so that the long span of period we have to use these kind of applications for dewatering techniques by using different principles like electrolytic stabilizations and others. Next one, physical and chemical modifications. That means some sort of physicals, equipments and other chemical modifications. In previously we discussed about different techniques are used by means of physical and different substances by using of these chemical matters. First one, additives. That means additive means an extra substance which is used to dewatering a particular soil or decreasing the voids located in a particular soil. Those are called additives. That means extra matter which is added to the particular soil is called as an additive. Normally in the concrete we are using this fly ash, GGBS, stone dust, silica fluid, silica and other things as a additives to increase the binding properties of a particular concrete. We are using all of those as a additives. Likely in the soils also we need to decrease the quantity of voids by using these additives. So that first one we are having natural soils. That means natural soils means naturally occurring soils. We are having too much of this fineness, so that this fineness matter is used to add on those particular soils to decrease the voids present in the particular soils. Next one we are having industrial byproducts or waste materials like this fly ash and slag. That means fly ash is a thermal waste. That means in the thermal power plants we are using coal as a base material for the generation of power. Next one we are having slag. That means slag is normally coming from the steel industries. That means in the steel industries we are using a raw material. That means ferrites, magnetites and hematites and other are the base materials for production of this steel material. And we are using coal also in the steel industries for heat purpose. In those both conditions we are obtaining this fly ash and slag as a waste materials in the steel industry and fly ash as a waste material in the thermal industry. So that those things are waste and they have to dump in a huge amount of fill like materials. In olden days they have no utilization power, but after the 2006 and others we have a huge amount of applications developed with these waste materials coming from those industries. We have to use for a construction of bricks like these fly ash bricks and others. In the nowadays we are using these GGBS and other things also in the filling purpose of the different roads and others. Next one we are having is cementination and other chemicals. That means cementination. Cement is majorly used as a binding material in the construction industry. That means it is used to bind. Bind means normally bind అనే వర్డ్ మనం ఎక్కడ యూజ్ చేస్తామంటే టు stick two particles. That means normally concrete we are having coarse aggregate and fine aggregate. There is no bond between these two aggregates. We have to create a bond between coarse aggregate and fine aggregate by using this lime and cement like materials. So that these cementinous materials are normally used to decrease the voids in between coarse aggregates by using this cement silica paste. Next one which reacts with each other at the ground level and decrease their voids and penetration of water into the subsurfaces. Next we are having 3 points. Soil stabilization by heating at the ground, by freezing the ground, by using different thermal methods. That means thermal methods means normally we are applying different kinds of thermal additives in the particular soil, so that automatically by absorbing sun rays and others they will burn. Automatically the water will be evaporated and particular up to particular level only. These thermal methods are suitable. Next one, heating evaporates water and causes permanent changes in these mineral structures of soils. Whatever the previous point I told is, this belongs to that. Heating evaporates. That means whenever we heat a particular strata, automatically due to this heat, water will be evaporates at 100 degrees temperature. Like that, freezing solidifies the part of all the water and bonds individually particles together. Freezing means normally in a refrigerator we observe these freezing techniques. There may be a huge amount of bond between these water particles. Automatically they will form as a solid like substance whenever this freezing technique is there, such that we have to use those freezing techniques. Okay, today's class is